All right, everybody, TGIF. I've been waiting a long time for this. We've all made it through the DNC. Now both sides, the Republicans and Democrats, have their front runners, and now we're waiting for the September debate. We have a lot that we're going to be covering on that. We are 74 days away from Election Day, so we are your source for all news. At Atlanta News First at 11, myself and Blair Miller will give all your headlines, also on Peachtree TV at 10, and WPGA in Macon. That's one of our newest partners and great newscast over there. We're so glad you could be with us. This Friday, August the 23rd, we have some really big stories that we're following. And one of the biggest ones that were covered today, and boy, was it heartbreaking to watch. This one was the funeral procession for Paulding County's deputy that died in the line of duty. It was a moment of respect, honor, and dignity for Deputy Brandon Cunningham. This is video of the funeral procession. Its route illustrated the outpouring of support from law enforcement, from the community, from just folks who came out to the 11-mile route that stretched from Paulding County to Cunningham's final resting place right here in Marietta. Atlanta News First reporter Adam Murphy takes us inside the funeral service.
On a sunny yet somber day, friends, family, and fellow officers arrived at West Ridge Church near Dallas. Attendees were greeted by the Stars and Stripes blowing in the August breeze.
We're blessed to have had him as long as we did.
The casket carrying the body of fallen Paulding County Sheriff's Deputy Brandon Cunningham was carried inside the sanctuary for funeral services. It's a solemn time for Cunningham's family and fellow colleagues.
Every day we hear and read news stories about how he has personally helped and changed the lives of many. And it fills our heart with so much pride and joy that he was one of the best.
Last Saturday, Cunningham was shot and killed seconds after he arrived at the scene of a domestic situation. The shooter later took his own life. For this sheriff's department, it's an unbearable loss.
Deputy Brandon Cunningham, you are now clear of duty.
Brandon was one of the best deputies that I've had the privilege to work with. It didn't matter what the call was or what needed to be done, he would do it with no questions asked.
30-year-old Cunningham leaves behind 2 children and a fiancée, who is also a Paulding County deputy.
Not only has the family lost a son, a brother, an uncle, all the things, you've got one of our deputies who has lost a fiancée. And so you add that layer into the story and it just makes it that much more tragic for us here at the Paulding County Sheriff's Office.
Adam Murphy, Atlanta News First.
And another big story that we were following, this one is another fallen hero, and he's being recognized in DeKalb County. A life-sized statue of Georgia civil rights leader John Lewis is replacing a Confederate monument, which once stood there for over a century. Supporters have waited years for this. Atlanta News First Blake Devine has more.
I'm Blake Devine reporting in Decatur Square, where this large bronze statue of the late great John Lewis will be unveiled during a very special ceremony on Saturday. The 12-foot statue of the late Georgia congressman stands in the spot where a controversial Confederate monument stood for more than 110 years before it was removed in 2020 by a judge. We got a sneak peek of what the Lewis statue will look like as we talked to sculptor Basil Watson, who says this will stand as a symbol of progress in America. The unveiling ceremony will take place at 11 a.m. as we'll hear from DeKalb County CEO Michael Thurman, Senator Raphael Warnock, Congresswoman Nikema Williams, and many other local leaders.
And as it warms up and you're probably seeking for things to do indoors this week, I want you to listen up, college fans. You can step inside your own football fantasy this weekend. No kidding. On the 10th anniversary of the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta, if you have never, ever been to this, you got to go. There's got some incredible new upgrades that incorporate some artificial intelligence, but in some really, really cool ways. Atlanta News First reporter Joshua Skinner takes us inside.
College
College football is back, and every single team is undefeated.
There are 764 college football teams.
A new season, a new 12-team playoff format, and a new-look College Football Hall of Fame, thanks to BYU graduate Jeff Thatcher.
I am also a huge Auburn fan because our daughter Zoe swam for Auburn.
Thatcher founded Creative Principles, which came up with an immersive AI experience for fans.
And every guest who comes through that door, through the power of technology, through the power of AI, can feel and be put and dropped into the game of college football.
Here's how it works. The kiosks at the entrance measure your face at different angles, take inputs like favorite team, position, and even your dream job.
I'm going to be on the defensive line.
Betsy Weisbeck's favorite team is not hard to figure out.
What team? Alabama.
Running her square into Jeff.
They poisoned our trees, so you know.
And don't forget to add your favorite food.
Well, I really would like a chili dog, but there's chili and there's hot dogs, but you can only pick one.
So I tested this out myself.
How tall am I? 6'3".
And when you walk through the exhibits, what could have been flashes before you. That's me winning the Natty at North Texas in the 60s. Kimberly Bowden runs the Hall of Fame. She's a Florida grad.
It's about 14 areas throughout the entire experience where we're going to put you right in the story that's going on.
So starting tomorrow, it's literally the time to be petty.
Alabama will be #1 on least popular a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the barking, the go dogs.
Even for the new kids on the block.
It's not just about football, it's about the entire culture of college football.
Imagining what could have been. Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.
Okay, game over before I throw my shoulder out. I'm getting too old for this.
Great job, Cutter. And real quickly, before we let you go, just to make sure you join us tonight at 11, myself, Shon Gables, along with Blair Miller, and our team of Atlanta News First reporters are covering some other big stories that we're going to be covering tonight at 11. We are in Sugar Hill in Gwinnett County. Atlanta News First Blake Devine is doing double duty tonight. He is at the scene of an officer-involved shooting. This is at least the 5th one in Metro Atlanta since Saturday. Police just held a press conference confirming a 17-year-old is dead in what appears to be a mental health crisis gone terribly bad. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has taken over the investigation. Police are telling our Blake Devine that the teenager was armed with a knife and a gun when he charged officers and was shot and killed. Blake will have a full update tonight at 11 on Atlanta News First and on Peachtree TV tonight at 10. And Atlanta News First, Madeline Montgomery, she's going to be speaking with the mother of Roger Forston. That's the U.S. airman killed in Florida by a former police deputy. Forston's mother is speaking exclusively to Atlanta News First tonight. And we're going to have that story about her with her tonight on our newscast. Again, it's an exclusive, and she's speaking to us only on Atlanta News First now that the charges have been filed. So make sure you join us for Atlanta News First at 11, Peachtree TV at 10, and on WPJ in Macon. And I'm going to show you what appears to be the last waning hours of this beautiful fall weather that we are having in Atlanta. And ooh, Cutter.
We managed mid-60s this morning, upper 50s in Macon, record low. But I don't want anyone to think that fall is here. I was on the Beltline the other day, and they were saying, "Oh, fall, it's here.
It's
the heat
a fake
is done."
fall, buddy. It's a fake fall.
It is a fake fall. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. We have a clear sky, low humidity, comfortable temperatures right now, but it is going to heat back up as we get into next week, unfortunately. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin, the bearer of bad news. Might as well just call me that this evening because heat is back in the forecast as we get into next week. And again, it's going to be pretty gross out there by the time we get to about this time next week. So if you like the outdoor weekend activity, Sean.
There's a wine and jazz festival tonight. I think the weather is perfect.
Do
to
it
be
tonight.
Outdoors. Do it tonight.
I mean, don't skip next Friday night, but do it tonight.
It's the night to do it. So, buddy, I'm going to let you take over
Yep.
because it is really, really nice, but we could have record heat.
Yeah, we're going to get close to records several afternoons as we get into the new work week. And even if we don't, records just a technicality. It is going to be uncomfortably warm as we get into the new work week, especially middle of the week onward. So, it's going to take some time to really heat up in the First Alert forecast, but just want to give you that heads up, that First Alert that changes are on the way. A gradual change, not a sharp change. So certainly you can plan for what's ahead, and you can pull the board shorts back out. Your swim attire, if you've already put it up, though it is still August, probably haven't. Go ahead and pull that back out because it is certainly going to be warm enough for pool weather back in the first alert forecast as we get into the middle part of the work week and lasting really into the duration of next weekend. So again, thank you for tuning in and for watching. I'm First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin here with a check of the First Alert forecast here from the Atlanta News First Plus stream, here to give you a check of the forecast across all platforms. A reminder, if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, many places where you can reach us, perhaps Atlanta News First on YouTube being the best, but you can also text us 470-777-WANF. Again, that's 470-777-9263. So we're going to do a two-parter tonight. Again, we're working on some technical difficulties that have been ongoing for the past couple of days when it comes to weather graphics. We still have those for you, but it's going to look a little bit different as we get into the duration of this stream. So just bear with me here, and we will have that up for you here in just a moment. And a reminder, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, YouTube and Haymarket, or just text us, it should say your best bet. Now to AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Again, if you would like to know what's going on across the board, what we have going on weather-wise, all you have to do is go to AtlantaNewsFirst.com, click on the First Alert Weather tab. We'll show you how right here. Again, it's in gray. Up at the top, written in white, should say First Alert Weather. And it is absolutely stunning outside, hour-by-hour forecast. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, or near the bottom, already down to 80 degrees in the city of Atlanta. Now, notice some of those other numbers to the right. You'll notice that the dew point is quite cool, with temperatures back in the 50s, and I should say quite dry, rather. That's a measure of the moisture in the air across North Georgia, Metro Atlanta, and specifically this observation is coming in from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So current temperature is 80 degrees right now, but the dew point is 52. That is dry air. That is like middle of Texas air. That's Oklahoma air. That's Kansas air. That's not air in Florida that you would typically feel this time of year. That's not our typical amount of humidity, of moisture that we have in the air here across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta on any given August afternoon or evening. So good news, not only is it cooler than it should be for this time of year, but also it is drier. So we don't have any heat index to talk about. Hour by hour forecast, of course, it is going to continue to cool with temperatures inside the city limits of Atlanta. So we're talking the core of the city here. Temperatures back in the lower 70s or so by midnight. So if you have late evening plans, Friday night owls, it's a dry, pleasant evening across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. We're keeping the sky mostly clear, keeping that breeze light, that humidity low. We've been telling you, till we're basically blue in the face, if you can get outside at all this evening, at all this weekend, but especially this evening, please do so, because August days like today and August evenings like the evening that we're heading deeper into right now, they are few and far between. They are certainly hard to come by. Out the door tomorrow morning. This morning we're about 65 unofficially at Hartsfield-Jackson. We're going to get that official update here in about 10 to 15 minutes. In fact, they may have put it in early. I can go ahead and pull that up and see if the National Weather Service office in Peachtree City put up the official climate information for the day. We'll give you the official high and low if they have. Last update was at 4:30, and it may have warmed a little bit since then. Yeah, 4:33 was the last update, and as of that time, low was 65. I bet they keep that, but the high at that time was 85. That was at 2:59. May have warmed up a little bit since then. We'll be showing you some of this information tonight on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW affiliate, starting at 10, and then Atlanta News First back on CBS WANF at 11. So out the door tomorrow morning, it is going to be certainly pleasant. Temperatures in the mid-60s for the city of Atlanta. I think outside of the city, upper 50s, lower 60s, a good bet. Mid to upper 50s up in the mountains. It is going to be wonderful tomorrow morning, though technically a warm-up begins this weekend. It begins tomorrow afternoon, a more noticeable jump up in our temperature. Again, taking you continued hour by hour here from 66 at 7 a.m., in the city of Atlanta, back into the mid-70s by 10 a.m., and notice temperatures cracking 80 or so by lunchtime, noon. So if you have brunch plans that 9 a.m. to noon or 1 p.m. window, typical course of brunch. Some go earlier, of course, some on the later end of the spectrum. It's going to warm up very quickly. So you may think it's cool in the morning, but just know, because of that dry air, because of the sunshine, it is not going to remain cool all day long. Pushing 80 by noon, not bad though for this time of year, and temperatures probably at their warmest between 4 and 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and the evening. High temperatures made to upper 80s across North Georgia. Right now forecasting a Saturday high temperature for the city of Atlanta up around 89 degrees. That is actually exactly average for the city of Atlanta on tomorrow's date. And then other end of the spectrum, we go from cooler than average to average tomorrow. And then swiftly, we're going to warm to above average levels. Let's show you the 3-day first before we give you the real rough news here again. 85 this afternoon, hitting the nail on the head with that forecast so far. 89 Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, high temperatures back in the lower 90s. Still, though, mostly sunny, and humidity still relatively low. So you may be surprised, considering that 92 Sunday afternoon in Atlanta, how comfortable Sunday morning is. We're going to have a stretch here at least through Monday, Tuesday, where the mornings are still nice. The afternoons, though, heating up big time with much warmer weather back in the first alert forecast as we get into next work week. Thanks in big part to how clear the sky is right now. We're going to keep that mostly clear condition through the weekend. And then look at what we have going on next week. We're really going to heat it on up with temperatures back in the mid to upper 90s. Much hotter weather is back in the forecast. Record high temperatures, 100 degrees, initially under that record, as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and then the record fall back into the upper 90s. So we're going to get very close to tying or breaking a record high temperature as we get into especially Wednesday and Thursday. They're looking like the hottest days of the work week. It remains hot Friday, but gradually we kind of ease out of that hot weather pattern. The end, so to speak, is in sight, at least for the more abnormal stuff, with temperatures back in the mid-90s Friday, and I think low to mid-90s as we get into next weekend. But it will be muggier, so perhaps feeling just as hot, if not a little hotter, next weekend. But we're going to kind of shed away from those records with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Needed rain by that point. The chance of that needed rain starting to increase as we get into next weekend. So we have about a week of heat. We have about a week of hot weather, dry weather, mostly sunny weather. By the end, you're probably hoping for a change. Maybe except for the kiddos, the students trying to squeeze every last pool day out of this season that they can. Plenty of that the next week. Next weekend, though, rain chances come back. You need some rain by that point. Temperature's still warm enough for the pool time, so still good for the outdoors. But again, get outside this evening if at all possible. I want to remind you that we're back. Maybe you're back from your plans by this evening at 9:30, 10 p.m. on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW affiliate. First Alert Meteorologist Patrick Pete, I had to think about the schedule tonight, is back for the 10 to 10:30 stretch, and then First Alert Meteorologist Fred Campagna back 10:30 to 11:30. We'll go from Peachtree TV back to Atlanta News First, WANF. And a reminder, you can always grab the forecast at AtlantaNewsFirst.com, as we just showed you how to find the hour-by-hour forecast there. And First Alert Meteorologist Fred Campagna here in just a few moments, in fact, will be recording an update and putting it in the First Alert weather app. So it's Friday. Maybe you're out late tonight. Maybe you're still out at 11 p.m., can't catch the news. You still can't get the forecast. Just download the First Alert weather app. Search Atlanta News First or First Alert Weather in your app or Google Play Store. Have yourself a wonderful evening. We'll see you this evening, and we will see you this weekend right here on Atlanta News First.